I imagine this is as close as we're ever going to get to a proper The Last of Us movie until we actually get one. Here Alone is directed by Rod Blackhurst and it stars Lucy Walters. And it tells the story of a woman surviving on her own in the wilderness after a zombie apocalypse, and she encounters two survivors who end up shaking loose some painful memories of her past. Here Alone was pretty high on my hype list this year. I mean, zombies are a bit played out, I know, but the trailers promised a really melancholy, somber character piece with more emphasis on survival than zombies, and I mean, for the most part, it delivered that. That being said, I mean, I was a little disappointed. I don't know if my expectations were too high or the film just didn't deliver, but the movie overall was sort of a mixed bag. More positive than negative, but still overall kind of a mixed bag. So I'm just going to kind of dive right into it. I mean, there is a lot about this film that works. Visually, it's fucking stunning. You've gorgeous environmental shots. You have these really just haunting shots of the main character Anne walking through these just foggy open fields, mountains in the background, and it's just really eerie is a good word for it. Eerie and sad is just the tone of this movie overall. It also features a really strong performance by Lucy Walters. Anne, as a character, feels very natural a lot of the time. She does a lot of things that feel very human, and there is... she's very well fleshed out, and I really like her performance. I also love the way this film handles zombies, in that it more just implies their existence. You rarely see them. There's maybe 5 minutes of zombies actually on screen in the entire 90-minute runtime of this film. More often you'll see them as these weird, twitchy, out-of-focus silhouettes. Sometimes they're in the background running. Sometimes you'll just get like a little fleeting glimpse of them. Sometimes you'll see their shadows on the wall, but it really adds to the feeling of isolation and loneliness, and that Anne's the only real human in this world, and you don't even see the zombies to even consider them as human. Which brings me to my strongest point, the atmosphere of this film. Fuck me, it's so good. This movie does a great job at capturing this overwhelming sense of melancholy and somber loneliness that really is just this character's entire life. She's on her own, her family's all dead, and it's just very depressing. You'll get these, like I mentioned, these really wide sweeping shots of her just alone in an empty field walking through the fog, and it really lends to the atmosphere when she's just in this rural wilderness by herself, doing nothing but trying to survive on her own, and it's really just sad. I don't think there's any actual dialogue, present-day dialogue, for the first, like, 40 minutes of this film. Those flashbacks, damn, there are some that pack a really hard emotional punch, especially toward the end. Holy shit. What I didn't like, once the two survivors show up, that tone of melancholy and loneliness really deflates. And I mean, I get that that's the idea, and maybe it's an unfair criticism to say that that's a flaw in the film, that deflates the tension, but I absolutely would have preferred if that just depressing atmosphere hung over the entire film and didn't go away once these other two characters showed up. A lot of the problems actually arise from the father-daughter survivor duo who Anne comes across. I mean, they as characters don't feel particularly fleshed out. There's a weird, awkward love triangle with the daughter who has a bit of an Electra complex with her dad and is jealous with him fucking Anne, and it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel organic. It feels very forced and weird and unnecessary because the characters are never explored. You don't know their motivations. They're just kind of, it feels like they tacked it on there just so they could have a weird love story involved. Overall, I did really enjoy Here Alone. I mean, just not as much as I'd hoped. It's definitely not for everybody. I mean, if you're going into this expecting a zombie film, if you're expecting Train to Busan or 28 Days Later, you're not going to get that. You're going to get something more akin to the slower episodes of The Walking Dead, where it's more centric on characters and their survival and just them as people. And for me, that's not a problem at all. I love those things. I love slow burns. I love character pieces. In the end, though, I was really hoping that Here Alone would be something of a genre masterpiece or a must-see, but I have to say it's just solid. Check it out if it interests you, if what I'm saying excites you or intrigues you. Give it a watch, but don't go in with too high expectations like me. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you like this channel and me, you can click down there and like, comment, subscribe, and tell me what you thought of Here Alone. Thank you so much, guys.
Those who stay die.